You know, I was thinking about I read a lot of things about you over this past week, and one of them had the story that you were actually discovered in an elevator, and you never know if those things are real or not. They sometimes get into publicity releases, and that the man who discovered you just saw these two shoulders blocking his view of the world. And is that true? Was it an elevator?
Yes, that's true.
First acting job?
Well, not my first acting job. It's the first time I did the first time it led to doing a Broadway play. But I'd actually been in show business virtually all of my life.
Right, that I knew too. You actually had a dream come true. I don't know how pleasant the dream was, but the idea of running away from school and joining a circus is, I guess, literally what you did.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Can you?
Shall I describe it?
Yeah, would you? I want to know how that...
Well, I was going to NYU, New York University, the School of Education down on 4th Street in Washington Square. And I had a basketball scholarship to the school. I was a graduate of DeWitt Clinton High School. I hope no enemies like commerce are here today. Anyway, I went to school there. I was quite a good student, and I thought I was going to college to learn something. But like a lot of the kids today, they're finding out they're not learning very much. And that turned out to be my problem also. I sat in a classroom with some 150 students, most of them from the coal mines of West Virginia, who were all going to be football players, and we read newspapers. And when I'd get up and raise my hand and start to ask a question, the professor would say, "Lancaster, just take your notes and be quiet." Well, I didn't like that. I thought, well, I'm not going to learn much here. So when I finished my sophomore year, I went off and joined a circus. I got $3 a week in my board as an apprentice, and it was one of the most beautiful times of my life.
I guess almost every kid has dreamed of that. I didn't. I was an odd kid. When I was at a circus, I dreamed of running back to school, but I was... But it's whenever I've been around a circus, I've kind of felt sorry for the people, or if you're on the midway or the sideshow, it looks like they...
I'll tell you something interesting about a circus. The first circus I was with was called a mud show. And the expression comes from the fact that it was a motorized show, and when it would rain, the trucks would be stuck out in the field. And we'd have to get the elephants, or the bulls as they call them, to pull us off, as differentiated from a show like the Ringling Show, which is a railroad show, where they use huge tractors to get the things off. And that first circus I was with, there was a total of 25 people who represented the performers and the working men who did all the shows. They did 2 and 3 acts. It was a little one-ring circus, like a European circus. And when we'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, have a standing breakfast, we'd go to the next town, we'd all chip in and put up the big top and drive the stakes and do all of that. And then it was all over, we'd put up our own rigging, my partner and I, which was a horizontal bar rigging, and we'd practice. And then at 11:30 we'd have something to eat, and at 1 o'clock we'd start the show. We'd do the show. Around 4 o'clock when the show was over, we'd go back and practice again. Then we'd get ready for the night performance, and then in the evening we'd take everything down after the show and pack it up and get ready to move the next day. Now that first show, in which, as I say, I got $3 a week in my board, I thought, this is marvelous. It was one great, wonderful, happy little family. The next show I was with was a show where I got $35 a week, so I'd made it. I was now what they call a Johnny-come-lately. First time I was a 1st of May, which is the expression for someone who first goes into the circus.
Oh,
but the
what?
second, a 1st of May.
Oh, 1st of May.
Then but the second show I was with was called a grift show. And in the midway of the circus where the carnival was, they used to have games of chance where they used to fleece the people. And that show was a dirty show, and the food was terrible, and my whole illusions about circuses were shattered after that.
Did you ever get in a Hey Rube?
Yes, I did get in a Hey Rube. Down in Leeds, Alabama, in a small town, I was with a show called the Honest Bill Newton Show.
That's where you'd get into one, all right.
We hadn't been paid in 11 weeks.
We should tell what a Hey Rube is. I just happen to know from my circus background.
Well, a Hey Rube is when some kind of trouble starts in the show. Circus people are very peculiar. They're a very strange, kind of rather exotic group of people. Most of them come from different places all over the world. They cling together. Everybody outside is what we call a gill. In a certain kind of way, the enemy. And the moment there's any trouble, you yell, "Hey, Rube," everybody in the circus bands together. They don't care what the cause is, who was at fault. You just gather like a family, like a little army, and protect yourself.
And you hit everybody who isn't one of you?
Yes, you do.